Aha. Looks like we are live. Good morning. Is it good afternoon, everyone? Welcome to the Skill Up Your Child show. Whoop, 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 whoop. Welcome, everyone. It's good to have you. Please, if you are here, don't be in the background. I need you to say something in the comments so that we know that you are with us. Don't just be in the background. Let us know where you're watching us from. Are you watching me on Facebook? Are you joining me on YouTube? Wherever you are, please let us know where you're joining us from. All right, now this show is not one of those live sessions that we stay for too long or that we beat around the bush. In this session, to we go straight to the point. So if you are with me, let me know you are here so that we can hit the road and go straight to the point. All right, if you're here, please let me know you're here so that we can hit the road and go straight to the point. Now, this is that show, this is that session where, as a parent, you are doing your hands on bits. So, right in this show is a hands on show. So, yes, at this moment, if you do not have your pen and your jotter, piece of paper, whatever it is, if I make it a jotter, don't make it a piece of paper. If you don't have your pen and your jotter right now, then you need to hurry up and get one immediately. Before you get that, I need you to take this declaration with you. My child was born for a reason, and I will not be a stumbling block in the way of them finding that reason. All right, now you can go off and grab your pen and your jotter if you don't have one while you're reminiscing on that. My child is born for a reason, and I will not be a stumbling block in them discovering what that reason is. Welcome, Mary Bowman. I see you. Chidima, I see you on YouTube. I see you, Uche. I see you, Abibo. If you're here with me, please say something in the comments. Let's know that we have got company. All right. So for those of us who understand the assignment, so we came with our pen and whatever we need for this already. I need you to invite your friend that needs to be here that isn't here right now. All right. Invite them on Facebook, on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, this is the time to click on that subscription button, and remember to also click on the notification so that you are notified every time we go live in this show and every other thing that we do in the academy. So yes, I expect that we are all back at this point. Sorry, I need to get someone to turn on this fan for me. Mr. Man, uh, all right, so let's move on. All right, so to start this class, I'm going to take us to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. Okay, if you're not a Christian, it's okay. Take this. This is our first reference. All right, and it says that you are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance as our way of life. I will take that again. You are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God created or prepared in advance as a way of life. I need you to write that down somewhere. And this is what you are going to tell your child after this session, or when you have a minute with your child later today. Let your child know that God created him, God created her particularly, created them specially. Okay, so they were created specially by God, and they were created for a reason. They were created for a reason. That reason was prepared in advance. The reason for which God created them was prepared in advance, and in that reason, they are supposed to do good. So you need to say this to your preteen, you need to say this to your young child, and you need to say this to your toddler. Now, why am I saying toddler? Typically, this show is supposed to be for a parent who is a preteen parent, or a parent who is a parent of a young child or a preteen. So we're looking at parents who are between the ages of 7 and age 13. But hey, we all know by now that you don't go to war. You don't prepare for war on the day of war. So what do? You prepare for war before the day of war. Yes, so as a toddler parent, you are in the right place. You need to start preparing the ground and having all that you need in place so that when you get to that phase, of course, you can run with it because you understand the assignment already. Apart from that, even if you are a parent of a teenager already, yes, because we know that parenting is not about perfection. So yes, there could be 1 or 2 skills that your teenager has not gotten in place yet. Your teenager may be struggling with 1 or 2 skills, or you may just have that scene that is unskilled. So yes, you are also in the right place. So let's move from there. So yes, they were created, they are God's hand workmanship, and they were created for a reason and unto good works. Let your children know this. I'm going to take you to another reference, and that is in Proverbs chapter 25, verse 2. As I said, these are references. So if you are not a Christian, I'm a Christian, so I'm quoting the book that I know. If you're not one, then please, I'm sure there is somewhere in your holy book that says something like this. I need you to research it, get it, and refer your child to this, or let your child know who God says they are. All right, the second one is Proverbs 25, verse 2, and it says, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, and the honor of man, the honor of kings, to search it out. So tell your child, God, it is the glory of God to conceal. So God is going to conceal that reason that he created you for, which happens to be your purpose. God is going to conceal that reason, and it is our honor to find it out. So if you have children who are as curious as my children, they will be asking you, something like, why is God not telling me what my purpose is? Why doesn't God just tell it to you instead of allowing you to search for all of these? Now, this is what you're going to say to your child. Explain to your child, okay, and make them understand. You know, all those treasure hunts, Easter eggs, where you go around looking for the treasure and all of that. They know how exciting that is, right? Great. My kids and I like treasure hunts. So say to your children that this is like a treasure hunt. You know how mommy has these goodies, or daddy has these goodies to give to you, but I have hidden them. We hide them as treasures. And what do? You have to move around. You have to get creative. You have to get passionate. You have to get hardworking. You have to be creative. You have to search. You have to move around. You have to really need that treasure, right, for you to find it. And so the pleasure in that treasure, the pleasure in the treasure is in the search. The pleasure in the treasure is in the hard work. The pleasure in the treasure is in the passion, the experience, and all of that. So in the same way, just as mommy or daddy will take us on the treasure hunt, it's the same way, because God understands that our understanding, our love, our passion for our purpose is in the journey, is in the work that we put into it. So yes, your purpose your purpose would require that you are hardworking. Your purpose will require that you really want to know. Your purpose will require that you are passionate. Your purpose will require that you are creative and adventurous. Your purpose will require that you walk that journey. So yes, the pleasure and the passion and the authenticity of your purpose is in your journey. So yes, that is why God says that only those who are kings, only those who are honored as kings will find it. So yes, sweetheart, you are a king. You are honored. You will find that purpose. And this is the point where you are going to make a second commitment to your child. So I want you to write the second commitment that you are making to your child. Okay? You will tell your child this when you have that meeting with them later today, that you can count on me to support you to find that purpose. Why is this? It's because purpose is predestined. Purpose is predestined by God, but it takes their choices. It takes their choices, their decisions to achieve that purpose or to miss the purpose. Let me take that again. So you are saying to your child that your purpose, the reason for why you were created, has been predestined by God. But it would require your decisions, your choices in life for you to actually miss that purpose or for you to achieve that purpose. So this is why I am making a commitment to you today, my darling, that, hey, I am always going to be here supporting you to find that purpose. I'm always going to be here working with you, listening to you, watching you, being present enough in your life to help you discover that purpose and to help you start living that purpose for which God has created you in the first place. Do you have someone who needs to be here right now? This is the time to tag them on Facebook. This is the time to share a link with them on YouTube. This is the time to ensure that anyone who needs to be here is here, so that they are not missing out on this knowledge. You have a chance to ask your questions while you are here, and you have a chance to receive it hot. Hi, Omola, thank you for joining us. So the first thing you want to do as a parent, the first and very important thing that you must do as a parent in helping your child towards finding that purpose, the first thing you want to do is to help them develop a deep sense of self-worth. You will have to help your child on their journey to finding their purpose and living that purpose. The first thing, or one of your biggest role is to help your children develop a deep sense of self-worth. And now, when we're talking about self-worth, how do you help your child develop a sense of self-worth? It begins with you. How do you show your child that the child is worth it? How do you show your child that your child is worth it? How do you let your child understand that you see them as a person that is enough, right? Do you let your child know that you think they are enough? Or are you that parent that how you see your child or how you make your child feel is dependent on how your child is doing per time? If you're doing well in school, then I will make you feel like you are something. If you're not doing well in school, the utterances from my mouth, the things that I say, the things that I do, whether I say them in plain words or not, the child can already feel like, okay, I don't seem to worth so much to this person. It is your primary assignment as a parent to make your child feel that they are worth something. And then when you make them feel that way, do they really get to feel that way? Because it is one thing, the many excuses we make. Oh, I do all of this to them, but at the end, I still stop him and I still talk to him about it. That talking that you're talking about it, that thing that you think you're doing afterwards, after shaming the person, after pulling the person down, after shaming them, pulling them down, and making them feel less of who they are, you think that a 5 or 2 minutes conversation builds all that esteem back? That's why I'm asking you, does your child feel it? If your child does not feel worth it, even after whatever you think you're doing, then there is something that is missing. Okay, you also want to pay attention. Does your child feel worth it? Does your child feel enough on his own? What is your child's perception of himself? Because how your child perceives himself is how he's going to allow himself to be treated. I say to my children, and I say to the children around me, it's the tag that you place on yourself that people will prize you by. It is the tag that you place on yourself as a human being that people will tag you with or tag you by. So how does your child perceive himself? And then the third thing is, how does your child accept that other people treat them? All this will make you understand where your child means, how worthy your child feels, or if your child feels enough as a human being. But it is your responsibility as a parent of a young person, as a parent of a preteen, as a parent of a young child, as a parent of a teenager. It is your responsibility to make them feel like they are who God says they are. Okay? Very important that your child perceives his or herself this way. All right. Now, you aren't just someone else. Now, you need to make your children understand certain things. Let your child understand that you know something. I mean, I'm telling you ways that you can help your child boost their sense of self-worth. Let your child understand that everywhere you find yourself, every time you find yourself in a room, every time you find yourself in a space, every time you find yourself in an opportunity, let them understand that you are not in that place by chance. You are not there because some other person did not show up. You are not there because someone allowed you to be there. Let your children know that you are there because you are worth being there. You are there because you carry value. You are there because your value is enough to make you have a place in that place. I remember when my son, at the time, my son was given a position in school, you know, and there were one or two people had mentioned here and there, oh, it's because some other person was not there anymore. That's why he became that. So I had a conversation with him one day and I asked him, why do you think you were given this position? Because I needed to know his perception of himself. So when I asked him, why do you think you're not? He said, oh, I guess I earned it. Or I earned it. I must have earned it. If I didn't earn it, they won't give it to me. Bingo. That is how your child should feel. When God has purposed a thing for you, it will come to pass. How it comes to pass is not your business. God will fix it. How it comes to pass, I tell you, is not your business. If he has to take someone away, if he has to bring someone in, whatever it is not your business. Just be a person of value. So that brings us to reality. Dear parents, does your child feel like a person of value? What are you instilling in your child? What are you helping how are you building your child up? How are you empowering your child up? Are you doing this in a way that makes your child feel like a person of value? So we're done. And parents, those ones that will go and fight every classmate that says something negative to your child, those ones that will go and fight every teacher that does something to your child, that one that goes, you are Power Mike, you are everywhere. Your child knows that you're always there to save them. Your child knows that you're always there to fix things for them and all of that. Now, this is the irony about it. Why the world is praising you and saying that you are doing, why they're saying you're an excellent father or an excellent mother. Why the world is looking at you and thinking your child is doing so much and achieving so much, just because you are the one propelling it, you are the one doing it behind the scene. Know this, that every other person can be deceived, but the child in question cannot be deceived. So yes, while you are fixing everything, the child knows what their worth is. So it simply means that you cannot christen your child, as a particular thing. You can't christen a worth onto your child. You cannot christen a worth onto your child. You cannot give it to your child as a title. No, okay? Self-worth is felt. Okay, self-worth is something that is felt. So if your child feels worthy, your child will feel it. Okay, so it simply means that you cannot gift it to your child. You cannot gift it. It doesn't matter how many affirmations you say with that child. If the child is not in the business of doing it, if the child is not in the business of training their self, if your child is not in the business of achieving things that makes him feel worthy, you can say 1,001 achievements and the child will still not feel that worthy. So it is in the doing. Okay, so how can you help your child build or train their self-worth? self-worth. Let your children do chores. Every time your children do chores, they win in that area. They get better in that area. They begin to feel like people who can do it. And then their self-worth, their self-esteem rises a notch. Every time your child impacts other people, every time your child does something that creates impact, that gives value to other people, their self-worth is lifted another notch. Every time your child is supportive, every time your child belongs to a team and that team is getting results, your child's self-esteem is raised a notch. And this is what we do in the mastermind. In the mastermind, we get children to practice things, practice skills consistently. We get them to wake up every morning and do something. Okay, at some point your parents will remind you. At other points, you will remember on your own. For every time the child is achieving something, it may seem small to you, dear parents, but it is in that achievement that the child's self-esteem is raised a bar or a notch every time. So your children need to do skills to build their self-esteem. How do you respond to your children when they make mistakes? Are you always judging them? Are you always castigating them? If you do that, you deplete their sense of self-worth. Are you the parents that is listening to them and saying to them, I am not really pleased at what you did. I think you need to go back and look at it and all of that. When you talk to your children respectfully, you make them think of themselves as worthy of being spoken to like that. And so what happens? Their self-esteem is lifted a notch every time. And it is through the self-esteem that your child has a sense of confidence. It is a person that has a good sense of themselves, a high self-esteem that is able to confront the world confidently. So yes, if your child's self-esteem is low, that child will not be able to confront the world confidently. So if your child has a low self-esteem, that child cannot have that child cannot be a confident child. So what are you doing, parents, to help your child build a sense of self-worth? Because therein lies their ability to take on that life that they were called to live, that happens to be their purpose. Okay, that purpose can be thwarted simply because your child has a low self-esteem. Their purpose can be thwarted because your child does not believe in their ability. These are all the things that can affect your child's self-esteem. And if your child's self-esteem is low, it becomes a struggle for your child to be everything that God has created them to be. And you know what that means? It means that your child's purpose will have a stumbling block. And remember, you made a commitment at the beginning of this show that your child was created for a reason, for a purpose, and you are promising that you will not be a stumbling block in that purpose. So yes, if you're a parent that is judging and constantly doing all of these things that I'm talking about, then hey, you need to go into your room and ask yourself, am I being a propeller or am I being a stumbling block to my child's self-esteem? Right, because we're about giving you solutions in this class, we're going to go right into some of the things that you need to focus on this week if you want to start paying attention to your child's purpose and your child's work towards that purpose. Number one is you need to create simple affirmations from what I have just talked about today. So go to the scriptures that I gave, look at those scriptures and create affirmations from those scriptures, depending on the age of your child. If you have a toddler, create affirmations that are tailored to your toddler. If you have a young child, create affirmation that will make sense to your young child. If you have a preteen, create affirmations. I won't do affirmations to you. If you are in the mastermind, I will create affirmations for you. So in the mastermind, we create weekly affirmations based on what the children are working on, based on what they are focused on for that week. We create affirmations. So while they are working, they are also speaking. And as they speak, the affirmation is meant to speak to your subconscious mind, that part of your brain that keeps telling you you can't. So we open our mouth and they speak so that their brain knows that these children know that they can. And so we're able to replace every limiting belief and everything, every voice in their head, and that's Satan that wants to tell them they cannot. So that's what affirmation does for your children. So from what we're saying today, from those scripture verses that I gave you, create some sort of affirmation, and your children will begin to speak so that they can believe it. Number two, you need to, if your children do not do chores already, if your children do not wake up to particular things that they know, this is my chore, this is my responsibility, then you need to create one today. You need to create one after this session. Sit down with them and decide on what chore they think they can do well, and decide as a family what chore is going to be theirs, because their self-esteem is going to be built by their ability to achieve things and being audio ma. Sorry, can you hear me? Someone said audio. I hope I have been audible. Please let me know. Someone confirm to me if you can hear me. Okay, someone is saying audio. Please, I hope you've been hearing me all this while. Yeah, Joe. All right. All right, so your child's self-esteem is dependent on, on what they are capable of, what they are able to do. So the more your children do, the more your child, okay, we can hear you. Thank you very much, Christabel. So the more your child does, the more your child is able to achieve on their own, the more, audio is fine, thank you, Mola. The more your child is able to achieve on their own, the more your child is able to do on their own. With your encouragement, the more your child will build their self-esteem. And how your child stands up to people in any room, any space, and anywhere is dependent on what they are carrying inside, what they think of themselves. So if you have a child that is not confident, you need to go back. Okay, if you have a child that is not confident, hi Vadna, it's good to have you. If you have a child that is not confident, you need to go back and look at their self-esteem and what you are doing to them at home. And this begins right from your toddler. How are you speaking to your toddler? Hey, sweetie, okay, I do not like that you dropped that cup right in the middle of, right on that console. It could actually tilt and the water will pour into the DSTV, and we don't want that, do we? So why don't you pick that cup and take it to the kitchen instead of, come on, we look, get that and carry that cup from there. You are speaking to your child's self-esteem. Okay, when you speak to the child like, you understand why we don't want this, don't you? The child is able to reason with you at that level, and the child feels talked to respectfully. That's where it is built. So when you talk to your child that way, when your child goes out and a teacher tells him to get out, the child is like, hello. So the child comes home and says to you, Miss Mary spoke to me rudely today, because your child understands what it means to be talked to rudely. But when you talk to them rudely at home, they will go and some boy in class will tell them you are an elephant, and your child will take it. It is normal. They call people elephants every day, and your children will make excuses for why people should be abusive towards them, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, number three, you need to identify 3 things that your children are good at, they love to do, and they spend their time doing. And I'm talking to you, even for you who is a parent of a 2-year-old. I need you to pay attention to what your 2-year-old enjoys. Even if you're a parent of a 6-month-old, I need you to pay attention. Some children have ears for music. You will start seeing it right from when they are 6 months old. So you need to pay attention. What does my child like to do? What does my child enjoy when I'm doing? What does my child engross himself in? Hi, Roman, thank you for the feedback. What does your child engross themselves in, and nobody can make it? You don't have to force them and all of that. Now, you need to pay attention to those things, and you need to write them down. Okay, you need to write them down. It could be what? It could be fashion, it could be dancing, it could be reading, it could be taking things apart, it could be talking. These are also those of us who talk. They said I would never keep quiet when I was a child. It was cha. And you know something? The cha was at home. When I go outside, I wasn't talking like that. So if someone was paying attention at home, they would have noticed that there was something something that made me really vocal at home, and outside I couldn't. They would then be looking at what are we doing at home that was affecting this child's self-esteem. So yes, is your child the talking one? There is something there. Do not just ward it off and look at it like it's nothing. Your child's gifts, their abilities are connected to their purpose. Dear parents, your child's gifts, your child's abilities, the things that come naturally to your child is connected to your child's purpose. So that is the reason you can't shut those things down. If you do, then you will be going against your first commitment that you said, that you know that your child was born for a reason, and you will not be a stumbling block to them achieving that reason. You will be standing in the way of the second commitment you made today, that I will be here to support you support you all the way through the journey towards finding and living your purpose. I had a reason why I made you make those commitments. So these are the things that you're paying attention to this week. All right, as we quickly come to an end, as we quickly come to an end, if you have any questions, put it right there. I think we've exhausted our time. We're supposed to be here for just 30 minutes. Okay, according to Apostle Joshua Selman, he says that any gift that is not connected to purpose has got no value. If you have any gift, if your child has any gift that is not connected to purpose, then that gift has got no value. And remember that God predestined your child for their purpose, and that purpose is supposed to be a way of life. So for those of us who are saying, leave these children, let children be children, because just leave them and everything. The question is, what way of life is your child living today, since you're waiting for him to be 17, when he leaves you, for him to go and discover and start pursuing the purpose for which he was created. Those of you who keep shouting, let children be children, and you're waiting for when they are 10 and 11 so that you can ship them off to boarding school where other people will go and help them discover and train or whatever it is, so that when they come home, you can allow them sleep till 10 o'clock. It was hard in school. Let them just rest and everything. And then after that, you're just nice, because you need to be nice to them throughout the holiday, because they are going to go to school to suffer again. See how you create mindset block in your children in the name of being good parents. So no, your child's purpose is their way of life. That's what scripture says. So from day one, it's life, it's their way, it's connected, it's intertwined. So what does your child love to do? What's your child's everyday life? Therein lies their purpose. What's their everyday thing they love to do, they do every day and all they're good at? Therein lies their purpose. The last thing you're doing is you are going to identify the things that you can do with that child, or the thing that the child can do to help them do that thing that they love to do every day, to practice that thing that they're good at every day. So your child loves to talk a lot. You're going to look for something productive that your child can walk around, talk consistently. If you don't know what to do, this is why you should be in the mastermind. The mastermind is a circle meeting that we have where we train preteens, kids between 7 and 13. We help them to become skilled, and we work with them every day. Every day, these children are building skills. These children are developing skills. These children are getting, oh my goodness. I look at these children, I'm excited at the growth that is going on. The children move from being directed to directing themselves, honing their skills and all of that. So yes, you need to look for whatever it is that is productive, whatever it is that is pointing your child in a direction around the skills that they have, around the things that they love to do, okay, and begin to build it every day. 5 minutes every day, 10 minutes every day, 15 minutes every day, but let them do something along those lines every day. The next thing you want to do is make time to enjoy these things with them once in a while. Make time to enjoy these things with them once in a while. And the last thing you need to do this week is to document. Document the things that your children do. So when I come here and I post a picture of my son pounding tomatoes, it's not because I want to shine for you. That is me documenting. When I go on, orphanage visits, and we go for children's day outreach, and I take pictures and I share the pictures with you. Don't worry, we did not take the pictures to shine. We took the pictures to document our journey. The journey is as important as the purpose. The journey is as important as the purpose. No wonder when you go and you're looking for scholarship, housemanship, and fellowship, and all of that, they ask you, what have you been doing? What have you been up to? And what do? You begin to look for evidence of what you're doing. So hey, if you have not recorded your journey, how would you get the evidence of what you're doing? And I'm not saying that's why you should, but what I'm saying is people recognize that journeys are recorded. People recognize that the journey, the purpose is in the journey. Very, very key. We're going to close by looking at okay, we're finished. I think we're going to end there. Okay, so but let me close with something. I'm not going to be. I think I'm not going to quote it exactly the way it is. I can't even remember. But I think is what's his name? Monroe, right? Pastor that said something that the other thing that is worse than not living, or the other thing that is worse than, I can't remember that quote, but basically that quote is saying that living without a purpose, but the other thing that is worse than dying is living without a purpose. The other thing that is worse than dying, living a life, right? That when you live a life without a purpose, you might as well be as good as someone who is dead. Now, you don't want this for your child. You want your child to live right from when they are 10 and 11 and 12 and 13, waking up in the morning for a reason, waking up in the morning with a purpose at the back of their mind. As I said, the gifts, the skills, the talents that your child has, if it is not tied to a purpose, if it's not tied to impacting other people, if it's not tied to changing the world, if it's not tied to making things better, then that gift is useless. And you know what? The devil does not, we joke with these things. Hi, Dorcas. We joke with these things, but the devil doesn't joke with these things. The moment he notices that you are not turning your child's gifts into value, he will come in and turn your child's gifts into destruction. I'm going to leave it right there. A gift that is not turned into value, a gift that is not connected to purpose, that gift will be taken over by the devil and used to cause confusion, destruction. If you think I'm lying, just look around the society and see the smart people who are contributing their smartness to devilish things. Thank you very much, parents. I hope you take these skills and you run with them this week. If you want to run with these skills and be accountable or help your child to be accountable while they're running with these skills, then you need to enroll them in the mastermind. Enroll your children in the mastermind. That is where the real knowledge and the real honing of these skills is taking place. Thank you very much for all those who joined us. If you're catching the replay, please let us know you're catching the replay. Okay, if you got value from this session, let us see you rave in the comments. Send us those emojis that makes us know that you had value in this session. If you have someone that couldn't catch this session and you want the person to be a part of another session like this, then we'll be on Instagram at 2 and they can join us on Instagram. Thank you very much. Have a blessed rest of the day. Bye. My name is Maribeth Chima and I am signing